Please confirm.
I can hear you.
Okay, good evening, everyone. I think we'll just be starting immediately, and we'll go straight to the assignment and ask how did it go? Were you able to sort some things out by yourself? What were the challenges? And would you love to share your screens and let's see what you have done? Is there anybody that tried the assignment?
Hello, good evening.
Yes, good evening to you, Mr. Sunday.
So I made attempts on the assignment. I like
Okay, would
really
you love
I
to
was able
share?
to.
Okay,
No, I'm not yet done with the assignment. I was able to check for the words that have vowels in it. That was easy for
okay,
me. So, but checking for those that do not have vowels in them, I got
okay,
something online. I was about to try it, then there was no light, like NEPA took the light. So that was the challenge. But really, I saw like a link, something like what you taught us then, that we firstly initiate something and equate it to a true. So that's what I saw anyway. I was just
okay.
trying to do that. But for to check for those that have vowels in them, that was easier for me to do.
Okay. Okay, well done. I could have even loved you to share your screen as well, but nevertheless, there's no problem. At least you tried out something.
No,
It's
no lie.
okay. Is there anybody that tried out something? We could actually work about it tonight and just see how we can go about it. How did we come up with the solution? It may not really necessarily my own solution. It could be yours. We could actually work on it and let's see how we can make it work. Okay, so that everyone could actually understand. Is there anybody that tried it out apart from Mr. Sunday? Anyone? Anyone? Mr. Solomon, Dr. Femi, Dr. Solomon, Mr. Funso Adekunle. Did you try something out, sir? What is going on? Can you guys hear me?
Yes,
Hello,
I can hear
sorry.
you. I'm sorry. Oh,
I can hear you.
Dr. Femi, you're saying something?
yes. I was not able to complete the assignments. I actually traveled. I was thinking I would do it today. So maybe if we still have a chance to do it, by tomorrow, it will be ready.
Okay, no problem. It's okay. The thing is, at least you tried something. It's okay. I remember you chatting me up on certain things. Okay. Mr. Fonobong, you are muted at some point.
Yeah. I haven't done mine yet, but I will. I will. Hopefully tomorrow.
Okay. Okay. I think we just have to do that tonight, and I think it was just for me. It could have been the next thing I could have done, but because of time, and I was hoping that you guys would just try to get something doing. You just put your hands dirty, check things online. I'm seeing some messages. Okay, I've seen a message from Code Academy from Dr. Mr. Solomon. Okay, okay, okay. All right.
Um, sorry to cut it, sir.
Okay.
I wonder why you're not asking Dr. Shaibu to come and show. Oh, yeah, yes. So why did you skip his name?
I mentioned his name. I'm very sure I did that. I mentioned everyone's name as well. It is well. Where's Dr. Solomon? I hope you are safe. I hope Dr. Spam is not attacking you directly. It's going through me and is all right, guys. I hope okay.
I don't mind you. I'm used to it, so I know you call my name clearly. But I am used to Opeyemi's gimmicks, so just ignore him for tonight.
Okay, it's okay. All right. I think someone has shared something. I'm even waiting for her to come online.
Yes.
Uh,
Okay. I sent like what I saw on net that I wanted to use. So I sent it to the chat now. So
Yes,
I
I've seen
just
it.
like,
That's what I'm looking at it right now, and I was like, oh, vowels. I'm seeing some things here. Vowels equals to A, E, I, O, U. Okay, and these are the new. Okay, so this is what you wanted to use online. There's no problem if you can figure out what they are doing right now. I think is what you're just doing is if it's this is this, append this, and let's see how it goes. But nevertheless, I'll still show you my own ways, and I'll always find a way to make it easier, even at some point. Always make it wonderful. And let's just start what we have. So the exercise I sent was, let me share my screen. Okay, and the message, what did I see here? I think I looked at them. Okay, let me go to pull up that. Okay, this was the word project. It is the word project that we did so far. And is this thing still here? No, I have to upload it again. One of the things that I don't really appreciate collab. I need to upload that word.txt file again. So that we'll just, for guys that were not in the last class, just upload the TST file again, download, and where was it? It should be in my document, my Delcam, and it should be in, okay, see it here. So I'm going to upload it. Okay, it's here. So anytime I want to, I can actually copy the power part and use it to work for me. So what we are doing right now is we are using a TST file, and we are using that particular file to do certain operations in like a real life kind of situation, because that's what you'll be going to do, especially those of you that are really interested in data science and analysis. So that's what we'll be using. So we're making a practical example of a TST file. And the very exercise that we did in the last class was to find, the very first one was to find words that are greater than, in terms of length, that are greater than 10, and it should print them out. And this is what we did. And in tonight's class, we'll be looking at the assignment I gave, which was to define a new function, and this function will search for the words which have no vowels in it, and it's going to print out only the words that do not have vowels in it. So that's what we're going to do, and we're going to use another approach here. Okay, it's connected, the collab is connected, so I can add a new cell. And how do I get this done? So how do we do it? First of all, we define a new function. So let's define a function. Let's call it check for vowels, or we can just say, can just use check vowels. So we can just say, oh, check vowels, check underscore vowels. So that's just for vowels. So by the time we do this, definitely we're going to put it in this and put it in color, and we'll put it in a scope. So that is the function we have defined. Now the next thing is, this function will search for the words which have no vowels in it. So any words that do not have any vowel in it, please remove it. And those vowels are A, E, I, O, U. So let's see how we do. First of all, we need to open that file. We have imported it already, and we have done what? We have copied the file path. So how do we do? File equals to, we are going to open it. There's a function in Python that has to open file. So what are we opening? We are opening the what? We're going to copy the file path. So Control V, which I've done that already. And we are good to go at this particular point for us to work on it. So the next thing we're going to do is, we're going to go through each of the line, each of the file itself, which of the particular words that we have in them, and we're going to do what? Split it. Why are we splitting it? Because we want it to come out in form of a list, so that in that list we can look through each of the lists. Remember that the split function returns items in forms of what? A list as well. So by the time it does that, what are we going to do? We're going to find a way to define a condition that says if it's this particular A, if it's this particular this, if it's this particular this as well, let's make it work. And also, when I told you that split also does was separate certain text from each other, and that's what we're going to use as well. So the very first thing we're going to do is to look through it first. Look through the file that we are opening right now, each of them. So for line, for each of the lines, for line in what? For line in file, which we have defined already on the second line of code, what should we do? What should we do? We should do what? We should split it, and we're going to put it in a word list. We're going to split it word. We did this in the last class. Please, if you have not gone through the last class video, please go through it. So what are we doing? We're going to split this. So line, why are we splitting the line of to put it into what inside a particular kind of like different kind of, if there are spaces, if there text, you just bring them out on its own, and it will come out each of them in form of what, at least. So dot split. By the time you get the split, I know your method that you used at some point may not be like this, but definitely if you do not understand, I always go back to it to make sure that you get it. So remember when I did something about putting something in a square bracket in the last class, I defined a word equals to word underscore list, just to make sure that I get the first element in the list. That's what we did in the last class. Word equals to word. I can decide to use anything, but I'm just making it to be descriptive enough. Word underscore list, and I'm starting with the word, the very first element in the list, which is going to be what? 0. By the time we start with the very element in the list, in which each of these particular lines of that is, let me even go and open the TST file so that we understand what is actually going on here. So let me go to Delcam. And this is where it is. So I'm going to open it. So you can see each of these is a line that we are a line of words, and each of these line is we're going to what they call it. We're going to get the index. We're going to get each of the elements of that particular list. For example, now I can tell you that lorem is a list on its own. When we did that in the last class, we saw that. Let me go through it back again. We saw what it came out with. So you can see when the split was, if each of these is a list. You can see lorem is a list, imsum is a list. So what this word is doing here, this word equals to word underscore list, is trying to tell you that the first element of what in that particular word list. So since we are looking at the letters in that particular word list to check if it's going to be a vowel or not. If it's not a vowel, this is what you should do. So we are going through each of them and we are saying, okay, we're now going to create a condition for it. So the next thing we're going to do is going to be what? A condition in which we want to what? Use. Okay, so what are we doing right now? We're going to say check if included what? Vowel. So let's start, and I'm going to introduce something new, and there are different types of that. There are new things, and it will actually be something you will get to understand. So if not, we're going to use if not here. We'll be using if, okay. For this particular one, we're going to use if not. That means if it is not there, don't print it. So, sorry. If it's there, if it's there, you're not going to print it. It's not going to be part of the word. That's why the if not is available. If not, that means if it is there, don't print this. If not, that's what it's trying to tell you here. If not, that's what it practically means. Practical, like don't worry, you're going to see it live and direct when the result comes out. If not, that means if it's there, don't put it in the list. Don't print it out as one of those things that we want. So let's say if not. So if not, what are we saying? If not, the vowel sounds that we have, definitely we have the very first one is so make sure it's going to be in a string, and I'm going to explain the next step, if the error which you have. Don't worry about it. So let's say you're using the single quote, and let's say a. So if not a in, what are we doing in this particular word on line 5? In word on line what? On 5. And remember that when we use the and operator, that we say that and is something that all the conditions must be satisfied. If it is not satisfied, it's not going to work. It's going to return false. But if all the conditions, both of them are working, is working very well, it's true, both of them will come out as true. So that is what we are going to use right now. Remember, I don't know if you remember that when we used the and all before. I remember we are practicing, we are bringing the right here. So Now, there is another thing I'm going to introduce as well. Definitely, I could have loved to continue my line of code here. I can say and also A, E, I, and the rest. But what I'm going to do right now, I'm going to put an escape character in Python, and this escape character will actually, it will also continue the code, but at this particular line, it will not do what? It will continue the code in another line. It's an escape character that moves to the new line. It will continue the code in a new line, and it will still be part of this particular condition of if not. Okay, so let's continue. So we'll bring in the escape character, which is the what? The backward word slash. So by the time we bring in the backward slash, we click enter, we do what? We're still going to say if what? What do you call it? If not, we're going to say give another word and said, okay, not. What are we going to do? So not is supposed to be on the very first, the same line with what this other one particular word not. So if not, what do you call it again? The next one is e. So the next one is e in word. In word, and we still continue with the ands. We have different words. I can remember when someone was saying, what if you use more than three ands in a particular one with different conditions and the rest? So we are going to see it practically here as well. So if we're still going to put the escape character, we'll go enter again. So you can see it's following what we want to do. So let's continue. Not again, not. And at this particular point, we're going to use what? Please be patient. So let me just, the next one will be I and in word. Okay, and we continue again and backspace again and enter. So what are we doing? Not again, please pay attention. And the next one we're going to use is what? O and in word and backspace again and enter. By the time we get there, definitely we finalize it with this particular one. So what is it? U in word, and by the time we get to this particular point, sorry, we're going to do what? We are stopping the if not what condition. So we're going to put what? A colon there, and we click enter. And once we click enter, it's not supposed to have, you're not supposed to return in this particular. You can see once there is a colon here, there's supposed to be what? A scope for this particular word if condition. So definitely we're supposed to be a tab here that will actually tell you that we are going to put it in this word. Normally, once a column passes like this, I know maybe because I added a backspace to it, let me enter. It's not supposed to be this way. It's supposed to, at least you should have that indentation. So let's print. What are we printing? We're going to print word. Word. We're going to do what? Print word. Word. So if you can see here, let me try to run it. Hopefully, we'll not get an error since it was, I don't know why it was misbehaving at some point, but let's see how it's going, if it's going to run for us. So why, guys, do you know why it's not working right now? But it's showing tick here because we have not done what?
I have not called out the function.
Fantastic, well done. So if I decide to call out this function, and let's see what we have. So Control C, I go back, I go to the cell here, and I Control V here, and if I run this, you can see right now, guys, you can see that the result is LN, the other one is TRYLYK. This one is capital ANTRYL. So guys, there is an error in, though it came out wonderful for us. Yes, it came out wonderful. But there is a particular line of code, a particular line of result that is still showing a vowel sound. That is still showing a vowel sound, which is the third one, which is ANTRYL. So it is only looking at it in a case sensitive way. It's only taking the small letter case of what? A. So how can we solve this issue right now? So far, you've looked at the assignment. I've even seen some of your answers. I saw the one from Emedion, and she used this particular concept as well. So I don't know if anybody has any suggestion. What should we do to make sure that everything, all the letters are being taken all over? I remember I mentioned the different strings method. I mentioned string method. It's one of those strings method we are going to use right now practically. What should we do to make sure that all the characters are being cut by this particular uh, code that we have run? There is a particular thing we should do. One of the string methods that we had said before now, we had done before now. I told you you'll be using them practically here. What should we do?
Dots lower.
Dot lower. So we are going to look for a way to put in this particular word dot lower. It means that wherever we define word that we are going to get, we need to add word. We need to lower that word before it goes into the word, the if not conditions. So let's go back and let's add word. Let's add word. That word that we are going to have equals to word dot what lower. Anything that we have for word, we're going to have it and we are going to lower the value of it to a word. All of them should be in this particular lower cases. So by the time we decide to save this again and run this again, you can see that it only comes out with what? It only comes out with TRYLYK. I think there were two things here. The other one came out with I too. Sorry, I is also there. That was not. I don't think that was that I. That one was not LN. It was IN, capital letter I and N. So that's why it brought out only what TRYLYK. So that could have been the solution to a particular what problem. I don't know if you have any questions right now. Let's find a way to solve it right now. Do you have any questions? Let me go to the group. Yes. Do you have any questions? I think I was just locked out immediately. I don't know what happened. Maybe it was an error. Okay, Dr. Kwemi, your hand is up.
Yes, thank you. Thank you for providing the solution. I don't particularly have any question, just a comment. Like
Okay.
seeing what you just done, and then we were doing it. I was trying to compare it with what I was trying to do, although I didn't complete. So I'll
Okay.
just, on a lighter note, I'll just call myself 4/10. Make that comment.
Okay. I don't know if there's
Yeah.
anything Dr. Solomon is going to add to what you just said now. If it's surely 4/10, because I will.
I'm not surprised with his low score. I've seen it.
Okay. All right. Thank you guys for at least trying it out at some points. It's good, but I don't know if I saw a solution from by someone, and I really appreciated that solution, and I really want to ask her how far. How did you make it happen? Hey, Emedion, please. I was waiting for you to join in. How did you make it happen? I could share your screen. I could show everyone your code. How did you? Okay, Tosin, welcome. Yes, yeah, you are really late. You missed the solution to the assignment. Nevertheless, there'll be a recording available. So, Emedion, can you unmute yourself and tell us you decided to use a whole lot of ways. There are a lot of bunch of code that you wrote down. How did you go about it? If that's what we are going to do tonight, there is no problem. We are taking it one step at a time. Okay, you can't share your screen. Nevertheless, I will share my screen and I would like to show the world what you have done. Okay, so if you are just joining in, we have done the assignment that we have shared how to print out the one that does not have the ball in them, and we have done that practically. But I would like to share what one of us has done completely. Emedion, did it work for you? I've not run the code. Did it work for you? I saw that you even used you use the PyCharm as well. And did it work for you? Let me check. Is there okay? Okay, it did. Very good. And maybe I could share my screen, and this is another approach of how we got our assignment done. Are you ready to tell us what you did in each line of code, or we should just pass and go to the next thing? I would have loved you to, please, I would like to even show the world what you have done. Let me go back to your code and let's see what she did. She added comments to our code. Let me see if I can put it in the presentation mode. So, okay, this is the presentation mode. So I believe you guys can see the screen, what she did. She opened the file, she created an empty list, okay? And once she created an empty list and defined no vowels, create a list, and this is really, I don't really have time to go into the details of this, but this is really remarkable. This is really nice. And for words in words, and I think I'm looking at the part she did lower. Did you do? Yes, she did it something. She did something like lower here, just to make sure that all those words that are coming in as what lower cases, so it will not affect other ones. So this is a wonderful one, Megan. You have done remarkably well. Thank you very much for trying out. Though, if you want to share how you got it, you could have done. If you can, if you want to do that, you can decide to also do that. But if you want to just say, okay, let's pass, no problem. You want to tell us how you got it? Okay. Okay, I think she's not responding on this particular point, so we'll just assume. Please, maybe she shared the code in the group. The codes are well commented. If I can go through it as well, I will definitely understand what she's doing. Okay, the code is well commented as well. So the next thing we want us to do, let's do something else, is going to be, let's check for words in that particular TSC file. Let's check for words which includes AE, that has AE together and in this order. Okay, they should have AE and it should be in what, in this particular word order. So let's see how we can. I would like to, but it may stay online for a long time. Okay, all right. So let's see. I may not stay online. Okay, there's no problem. It's well commented. Anybody can download it and open it to a patch and make sure it is in .py, so it will not open. It might not work very well on the Jupyter notebook. So nevertheless, let's go to the next thing. So what we want to do is to check for words which include AE together and in this particular word order. So how do you think we should do that? And I think anybody can try this out. If you have that mentality, just look at the code. It's exactly almost the same thing that we did for these particular vowels. I can decide to copy all of them, and I will just copy to this because we do not need this condition. There's the if not condition. So I can decide to copy this. I don't like stress. Okay, so I can decide to copy this out and Control C, and I create a new cell, and I Control V. So whatever I'm going to do is going to be exactly as I've done in the previous one. The only thing that I can decide, I'm going to change the function name. I can just use check AE. Want to check the AE, and we are opening the file show, and we are going through each of the lines, and we are splitting each of the lines, and this splitting will return it as a list. And we are going, this word equals to word underscore list is going through each of the elements, the first element, starting from the very first element. So word is equals to word dot lower. It means that we are reducing all the words. If it was in upper cases, any case that it was, all of them should go down to what? To the lower cases. Okay. So the next thing we're going to do, since we are looking for just what AE and together, so we're going to say to check if it included together. So we're going to say, sorry, if we're going to put it in a string, since it's a string, if AE in word. Okay, if AE in word, what should we do? We're going to print that particular word. You can see in this particular one, we're using if AE, not if not. So if AE in word, that means you are going to print the word that has AE only. compared to the one that we used in the previous class, which the previous example exercise, which was if not. That means if it is there, do not print it. If that particular word, if not, if it is there, don't print it. But in this particular one, if AE is in that word, yeah, we want that particular word to come out only. So let's see. So print word. So by the time we print this particular word, what are we going to come up with? So we have finished the function. We can decide to do what? We can decide to now call out this function, which is the check word AE here. So Control C. By the time we Control C, we V here and we put in the parentheses and we run this. You can see it has brought out words that has the words the AE in them. We can see vitae, you can see present, PRAE, AE here. So everything is actually what as we wanted it to be. So exactly what we had wanted. And I don't know if anybody has any questions right now. Anybody has any questions right now? Any questions? Any questions? Any observations? Anything that you do not understand? Mr. Tosin, okay. Remember you joined late. So if you ask a question and we know that it's a question that we have solved, we are going to sanction you accordingly. All right, you have the floor, Mr. Tosin.
Boss, you want to sanction me? I beg you. All right.
Okay.
Thank you. Anyways, I just want to ask. Yeah, I understand briefly what is happening actually, but then I just needed just please just if it's just 30 seconds, the file that you opened, the opening of the file. That's the only part I just want a clarification on. That's all. Thank you.
Okay, sir. Okay, you're welcome. Thank you very much. That is a very, very wonderful question that you have asked, but that is for someone that has not been attending the class. But nevertheless, we are here to help out. So let's go there. Let's share our screen again. So how did we get our file? We went through this particular, we open our collab. In this, when you open collab, there'll be a folder kind of menu. You click on it, you click here. By the time we click here, what do? You go to where you have the file in your folder and you bring it out. Once you open it, to show here. By the time it shows here, what do? You do what you right click and decide to right click on this particular word.txt that we have just imported. We copy the file path. Once you click copy, you go to where we have what? There's a function in Python that helps you to open documents. And in this particular one, you paste you are going to paste the file link here. Let me do something like it. Definitely you start it with a word, with a open and close call or semi what they call it quote. It could be double, it could be single. So let me backspace this. So let me now let me paste the file part in which I've just copied right now. And by the time we do that, we can open our file into our word collab. Okay, I think that's a very brief one. If at this point you do understand, please let me know. Mr. Tosin, did I get it? Did I make you understand? Or did I confuse you the more? Please let me know.
Yes, thank you. Thank you very much. It's okay.
All right. All right.
Got it.
Thank you very much. Okay. Welcome. Okay. So this particular point, I would like to move to the next thing we have for today. Please pay attention. These particular explanations I'm doing will be very, very important for you in your project. Remember, we are doing the second project, which is the word project. It is very, very important that you understand what we are doing. If you do not understand, it's going to choke you up. It's going to choke you up in your project. Please make sure that if anything you do not understand, let me know. So I think we can actually say, let's do one other exercise. So let's see what we want to do. Let's try something. We will define a function. We define a function and we can name it maybe is any forbidden letter. We can define a function that we can use it as a forbidden letter. In this particular function, it will take letters which are forbidden and a text. It will take letters which are forbidden and a text. That means from that text, if that text contains a forbidden letter, it should do something. It will check if this text included any of these forbidden letters. If it does, we are going to return true or false. So that's what we're going to do before we end tonight's class. So let's just go there. Let's start. Let's just define a function. Let's define a function that is descriptive enough. And just say is underscore forbidden. So sorry, underscore forbidden. So we can just say I don't know how to spell forbidden. Then okay, I think it's double D and N. I think this should be the spelling. So it's forbidden. So let's see. Remember when we said that we are going to pass in what letters? It will take letters. That function will take letters, and it also take a text. So definitely, first thing we want to do is to put what a text in it, and we're going to put another parameter, which is the word. Can decide to use forbidden underscore letter. Okay, underscore letters. Okay. So by the time we do this, definitely we put in a word a colon. I will enter and we'll go to the scope of it.
Underscore,
So
not dash. You put dash.
okay, very good. Thank you very much. Thank you very much. That was a wonderful observation. Could have caused an error. It was already showing an error there. So by the time we put in what the scope here now says, now unless this way we now start. And I said, definitely want to use the text. And we're also going to use the word, the forbidden letters. So in this text, we're going to say for letter, for letter in what, in text, for letter, we could have used anything at all. Remember, it's each of this particular text that we are doing. For letter in text, for letter in what the text, a colon comes in, and what should we do? Now, this is where the condition of the forbidden letters come up. So, if that in that particular letters, in those particular letters of that particular text, that means in each of the elements, in this particular word text, in each of the, remember where this is a for loop. For loop goes through each of the text, the elements in that loop, and brings it out in forms of like each of the in a illustration, each cycle. So in that if letter, if each of the elements in that text contains what a forbidden letter. So let's see. If letter, as the one we have defined now, in, if letter in forbidden, if letter is in what forbidden, okay. So forbidden. So let's, well, I think is it forbidden? Okay, it's not the spelling. Forbidden. Okay. So if is in what forbidden letter, which you have defined, please remember is on your what is on your parameter. So if you don't do it like that, it's not going to work. So let me. I think my screen is disturbing here. So if letter in forbidden letters, which we are putting in the text, in the parameters in your function. So if it is there, what should you do? What should you do? You should return what? You should return what? You should return something. And what are we returning? It is what? True. So we are returning what? True. Now, please, the true will not work if it is small letter. If it starts with small letter, I'm doing it again. I don't know what's wrong. True. Okay. By the time it returns true, that means if letter in forbidden letters return what? True. Else, what should we do? Now, I was supposed to have taught you a particular concept in Python coding known as the for else. That means in this particular for, we are going through a particular condition of if. But if it is not, if it doesn't satisfy this condition, we are going to do what? Go out of that particular loop, and we are going to go to what? The else loop. Okay, which is what you're going to do now. So we could have, it's a simple concept. We could just understand it from here. It's a for else kind of condition. It's not really as much as we had expected it to be. But at this condition, I believe you understand what I'm doing. So else, if you do not understand, I can still go back to it. So else, and you can see that the else is under the for, the same line on the for side. If it's not going to be that way, that means it's going to cause an error to it if you want to. So else, what are we returning? We're going to return what? We're going to return what? False. Okay. Oh, sorry, I don't know what's going on. Okay, Shift F L S E. That's the value for false. So let's see how we can make this work for us. So let's see. We run this now. Definitely it's working. There's a green tick on it. So the next thing we want to do right now is to call out these functions, and let's see how we can do. So the very first one we want to do is, let me see what I can do with it. So let me see. We're going to define certain things and put it there. So let's define a sentence. Let's put a sentence here, and let's put a sentence and now say, let's say this a what they call it a forbidden okay, forbidden what? A forbidden sentence. Let me just make something practically like here. So this is a forbidden sentence. Yes. Okay, no problem. We have heard it. And the forbidden letters are the forbidden letters. Please pay attention. It's very important. The forbidden letters underscore letters equals to what? Let's use A and what? E. So by the time we do what, we have defined these parameters, we have defined these variables now, and we decide to click enter here, click another enter. So let's just have a little space and call out this function in which we have done is forbidden here. Is on underscore forbidden, control C, and decide to control C and put it here, control V, and call out this function. And what are we calling out? This function had two parameters. So we fix in the first one, which is the text which we have done. So we are putting in, instead of that text, there we have already defined something. So the very first one will be what let's take it as sentence that we have defined already. So let's take it as sentence, which is what we have defined already, comma. And the next one we want to take is the word, the forbidden word letters. So you can see Python is actually showing you that you have, let me see, should just tap for me as well. And it doesn't want to come out. Don't want to type all this. Forbidden. Huh? Okay, forbidden letters comes out. Okay, you can see it here, it has come out as well. So if we decide to run this now, let's see what we have. So you can see the result is what? True. Because if you can look at this particular word, this particular sentence, it has what? The A, and it also has the what? The E. So what if we decide to say, what if we decide to change this to X, Y? Let's decide to change this to X and what? Y. So by the time we change this to X and Y, let's run this again. So you can see it has returned it as what? False. It has returned it as what? False, because X and Y are not inside this particular word sentence. So at this particular point, I would like to stop here and ask if you have any questions so far. Please, any questions? Do you have any questions? Only the strong will survive. We still have people that are still here and they are still pushing on. What's up? Any questions right now? Please ask. It's very important. It's very, very important that you are taking your step gradually, step by step, and you are still pushing on your learning process. Is there any questions? Is there any observations? What should we do better? Okay. Do you understand what I've just done? Please ask questions. At least students should ask questions. Please, I'm begging you. It's not everything. It's not all concept you should understand. There's something that you are actually doubting if it's going to work. Are you sure I get what you are doing? Please ask questions. Any questions? Are you sure? Mr. Sunday, no questions. Dr. Kwemi, Mr. Punso, Mr. Vonobom, Mr. Tosin, Mr. Mark, Ms. Nena is here with us tonight. Welcome. Dr. Solomon, any question? Okay, Tosin. Okay, Mr. Tosin.
Okay. Thank you, boss. I just want to first appreciate the work you're doing. It's a beautiful one, and we really appreciate you so much. And so to the question, basically, in the last 2 or 3 classes, I've not been very much attentive. I would be sincere. So I believe that there are 2 things when a teacher teaches and there are no is that students understand perfectly, or so, or the other way around. So I want to assume it is the first one and not the second one. So I believe that is the way it is. But for me, actually, the only area of issue that I had that I am having now has to do with with uh, I believe with practice I will get it, but has to do with the opening of the file and the um, get understanding um, what's it called? I'm sorry, trying to please can you go back to the screen so that I
Okay.
can point out. Yes, here,
Which part?
yeah, this part.
Which
Um,
part? Which part exactly? The line, the cell, which of them?
if for letter in text, then if letter in forbidden. Uh,
Okay.
then I want to believe that at least first we should split the text for us to be able to get the letters in the text. I don't know. That's where
Mm-hmm.
I guess with practice I'll understand better anyways. But I feel there should be a splitting
Mm-hmm.
before we start getting the text in the
Okay.
and the letters in the text. That's all. Thank you.
Thank you very much for the information as well. Okay. It's all right. All right. Any other questions? Okay. There will
Um,
be questions after practicing the code. Okay. That's no problem.
no.
All right.
Can you hear me?
Yes, I can hear you.
Okay, so please for 4S statement that you talk about, I'm really trying to get it. I think I've seen some code that they will just move back. Instead of even putting that S, they will just write false directly. Like I think I've seen it. I don't really understand why they used to do like that. But
Okay.
uh, I
Because they are
really
leaving.
what
Because
if
they have
I
left.
just
They have left the loop. They have left the loop. That's why.
what
Remember
if I
all
just
this.
under that if won't it work? That is my question.
Where is
Like
where is what you did? So let's see. Let's go back to what else. Okay, here, right?
like if I put it directly under the if the condition statement, won't it work?
The under the if condition here.
Yes.
Okay. We're looking at the condition. We're looking at the code itself here. So okay. I believe I always like to make it practical enough. So let's put this and let's tap it inside. So it's directly under the if. Now let's see if it's going to work. So let's run this one first. Okay. And we decide to run this one as well. So it does the same thing as well. But I was just trying to make sure that you get the else condition here. So it does the same thing as well because it's almost this what do you call it? It's still inside this particular condition. It returns false as well because this condition has not been met. But the else, this thing also works for you as well. Okay, Mr. Sunday, can
Okay.
you hear me? Yes, it does work because we are
Yes.
looking at this. It does work for us as well.
Okay.
Because, yes, but if you had started your work, if you have, this your if was in where your for is, it could have not worked for you.
Okay.
Yes. So this is more of like everything is inside this. The condition has not been met here. So definitely it's going to do what return else. There's another one he said he saw. Um, there are different ways of coding. People could use this way, someone could use this other way. I think I wanted to explain. I think why did I use this method was I think I wanted to explain the for else condition as well. You said there's something else you observe. Instead of putting this place, just put false under.
Directly false.
In this particular place, you have else.
Yes, that's S area. Oh, I don't
Okay.
know.
No, no, it's always good to try something out though. Let's see. Let's see if it's going to work for us. So let's rerun this. So if the code is actually working, is not showing any uh, error. So you can see it doesn't come out, doesn't return anything. Doesn't return anything because you did not tell it. Or should we add print false? Mr. Should we add print false?
No.
Okay.
Directly
All right.
under if.
Okay, directly under if. Okay.
Yes.
Okay, directly under if. Let's see. The code is working, and let's see here. It still doesn't bring in the words. Okay, instead of writing false, let's say return false. Okay. So this code is working. So it returns false. So you can see it. You have sent it. You have sent it a command. You have told it to do a command, and it returns what? False. So it works for you. It works for us now. Even though it was here, let's see. Run this one first, and we'll run this one as well. So it does the same thing. Okay. All right. I think you understand what is going on right now. Okay?
Yes.
All right. All right. Thank you very much. Is there any other question? Okay. If there are no questions, there will be more questions after practicing the code. All right. Thank you guys for joining me. And the recordings will be available as well. Mr. Funso, you have been quiet today. I don't know. There was no Mr. Funso, are you with us?
Yes, I'm with you.
Okay. All right. There's no
I'm
problem.
checking
All right.
out the code, trying to assimilate it fully.
Okay. All right. Thank you guys. Thank you for joining in.